Good morning to everyone. I'm delighted to be joined today by some of the AETN commissioners that have been hard at work, and I want to express my thanks to them for their hard work, but also a diligent review pertaining to the announcement I will be making. I did want to express my appreciation to Alan Weatherly, who passed away last year. He had been a long-time director of AETN and did an outstanding job. I enjoyed working with him, and because of his unexpected passing, we've had to go through a leadership search. And I see Tony Brooks back there, and Tony, let me tell you, thank you for holding the ship together and being an outstanding interim director, and for your long-time service at AETN, Tony. And so today I am pleased to announce Courtney Pledger as the new Executive Director of AETN. And obviously Courtney is right here with me. But Courtney, welcome on board. We're delighted to have you. This is something that I interviewed Courtney and was so impressed with her love of television, her vision, her background, her philosophy of it, if you will. But then this was a decision that the AETN commissioners made, and they did a search. They interviewed numerous people in that search. They followed the law, and today I understand that they have met and voted and unanimously recommended and supported Courtney Pledger as the new AETN director. So thank you all for the work that you did on that. I wanted to say that Courtney has an incredible background in television. First of all, she is currently, as of yesterday anyway, and today, but will soon be resigning, she served admirably as the executive director of the Hot Springs Documentary Film Festival. She's had that role for the last 5 years, and as everyone knows, it really moved the Hot Springs Film Festival into a new arena and level, and did an outstanding job there and brought national acclaim for the Hot Springs Documentary Film Festival. She has been nominated for Primetime Emmy Award. She founded the Working Title Films and worked in London for 2001 to 2006, focused on acquiring and adapting British children's book properties to film. She has been an independent producer for CBS, NBC, and ABC. She's been vice president of production for Rastar Indie Productions out of Los Angeles. She has been a production assistant at Mississippi Educational Television Network out of Jackson, Mississippi. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Theater from Millsaps College in Jackson, Mississippi, and she's done additional study at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York. And let me tell you, what I just recited is giving her resume really the short circuit, because it's a very lengthy resume, but I wanted to give a little bit of those highlights. But most importantly, she loves Arkansas. She came back and has done such an outstanding job at the Hot Springs Documentary Film Festival, and I think she's impressed everyone that has met with her about that. And so with that, Courtney, congratulations to you, and I want to introduce you to your audience.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Governor, and thank you for your support of AETN and public television in Arkansas. We are really fortunate to have a leader who appreciates the irreplaceable value of public media for Arkansas families, so thank you.
Thank you, Courtney.
I am extremely grateful to the AETN Board of Commissioners for this opportunity here in my home state to lead AETN. I'll be taking on this role with a great degree of excitement, great enthusiasm for the future of Arkansas's only statewide public media outlet. I have a lifelong love of public television, and My very first job, as the governor mentioned, in college was with a public television station. And I'm just so thrilled to be back in it. I feel like it's so right. And thank you, commissioners. Really appreciate it. I look forward to working with Deputy Director Tony Brooks and the talented team at AETN and the AETN Foundation. And we will build together, we will build on the rock-solid foundation that's been established at AETN over the network's prior 5 decades. AETN is part of a powerful network of 349 stations across the country that are part of the PBS member stations, actually. And as I join, it's wonderful that AETN is celebrating its 50th anniversary in the middle of that celebration. So years of producing programs that win awards like multiple Emmy Award-winning Champion Trees, upcoming Dreamland, shows that Arkansans depend on, like Arkansans Ask, Exploring Arkansas, and all of this Arkansas-made programming is spotlighted side by side with top PBS programming. Many of the titles you know from Downton Abbey, Victoria, the upcoming The Vietnam War from filmmaker Ken Burns, PBS NewsHour, Nova, Frontline. I could go on and on and on, but all this programming has become integral to our lives. Just to sort of put AETN in perspective and PBS, for last season, Nielsen ranked PBS as the #6 most watched network among all broadcast and cable networks. And in a recent poll, it was confirmed that for the 14th consecutive year, PBS and its network of stations are America's most trusted institution and the #1 brand in education for children. I believe that AETN tells the story of Arkansas in ways that no one else can. As a voice for all Arkansans, the network is poised to reach people of our state in more ways than ever before. As executive director, I will ensure that AETN continues to serve all the people of our state, every inch of our state, the rural, the metropolitan, students, educators, and with the help of a growing number of digital platforms, we will provide education for all. We're going to be very busy making programs in Arkansas about Arkansas, and though we will always speak first and foremost to Arkansans about the things that matter to Arkansans most, it is thrilling that public media is now a global resource. AETN is able to reach audiences well beyond our state borders, offering frequent opportunities for us to showcase Arkansas and all the things that we love about Arkansas internationally, around the world, nationally and internationally. I am very eager to get to work, to get to know all of AETN's many partners, potential partners, donors, all the thousands of viewers from across the state that know and love AETN. Again, I want to thank the AETN commissioners for their belief in me, their confidence in me, and I want to hugely thank Governor Hutchinson and the state of Arkansas for their belief in AETN. Thank you very much.
Very well said, Courtney, and let me just end by saying I view this appointment and your new position as a big deal for Arkansas. Whenever you look at new leadership and a change in leadership, it is always an interesting time, an exciting time, and the role that AETN is important for this state. And so I'm delighted that you're willing to take on this responsibility. With that, I'm happy to turn over questions.
Governor, as you know, yesterday, congressional Republicans unveiled their repeal and replace legislation legislation for the Affordable Care Act. Want to see what you thought about the legislation, especially how it would affect states like Arkansas that have expanded Medicaid, any concerns you might have about it. And also, if this change, any part of the legislation will change what you announced yesterday in terms of changes to Arkansas.
There's nothing that they announced yesterday that would change our plan to pursue additional waiver as I outlined yesterday. And so again, that the reform that we want to accomplish is consistent with that and fits in nicely with the direction Congress is planning to go. Now, in terms of the congressional action yesterday, we're still reviewing the details of it, but my initial reaction is that we should remind ourselves this is a long process. The Senate has to weigh into it, and so the first announcement is not always the end result. Secondly, even though I would like to have seen more flexibility being given to the states, I'm going to continue to look at that. We were pushing for both the option of an option of a per capita formula, but also a block grant, and it looks like they went more toward the per capita formula in the House plan. They do have a continuation of the Medicaid expansion through 2020, but I would note that they also put in, I think it was a lot of money, $100 billion for states in terms of helping to make sure the needs of the uninsured or those that have been traditionally on Medicaid to offset any downside to the reduction down the road for the Medicaid expansion. And so there's a lot of variables there that we're still looking at. And again, this is a long process, but those are my initial reactions.
Have you got much response to yesterday's announcement?
Very positive. We briefed our congressional delegation on it. And we'd previously talked to Secretary Price, and the legislative response has been very good as well.
Governor, has the state found, have we found a new supplier for execution drugs?
As I indicated before, I don't anticipate a problem. I have not had a recent update, but I don't anticipate a problem in having the drugs that are necessary to carry out the mandate of the law.
Ms. Cox, sorry. Do you have any marching orders on make changes, or what changes you want to make at AETN?
At this point, we have such a strong foundation. We have a wonderful team. I have a lot of people, including Deputy Director Tony Brooks, to help guide me, and we're just going to get in there and keep doing well what we do.
So the governor doesn't have any plans to announce 2 years from now he wants to
Wouldn't tell. I didn't give you any marching orders.
He gave me no marching orders.
to reduce state revenues going to AETN?
No, I'll answer.
Yeah, okay.
No,
I'll let you.
there's
I got a senator up there like taking shots at AETN, so I just wondered.
no, and I recognize her talent, her leadership. I think she'll be a great part of the AETN team, most importantly, but she will be an important part of my team. Our balanced budget we presented has continued funding and support for AETN. There's not any reduction in my balanced budget. There's no plans in that regard.
Governor, you in this room in December, you discussed concerns about the procurement process and legislative review, and I noticed that Senator Hickey introduced legislation that would reform that process. Have you had a chance to look at that legislation, or do you have any views on it?
I've not looked at it in depth myself. I know that Senator Hickey has worked with our Office of Procurement at DFNA and has accepted some changes, and there's some discussions that are ongoing, so I haven't seen the final draft of it. We'll continue to look at it.
Do you support Dan Douglas's gasoline tax? And on a similar note, do you believe overall after the session will taxes have increased or decreased after the session's will be over?
well, without any question, the taxes have decreased with a $50 million reduction in taxes for low-income individuals, reducing the income tax rate. So without any question, they've been reduced this session, and you put that on top of the $100 million reduction in the previous session, $150 million reduction since I've been governor on our income taxes is a very large statement that we have made. In terms of Dan Douglas's bill, I've always said that any tax increase or any new revenue source for highways should be presented to a vote of the people. That is included in Dan Douglas's bill, and so I expect that to be having a good debate in the session. But as long as it's a vote of the people, and it's consistent with the highway needs that my task force presented, so I think that's a good step forward. Any other questions?
Any thoughts on the bathroom bill that Senator Paul Smith had filed yesterday dealing with government buildings?
The same, that it's not necessary. I think and so I don't believe we need that type of facilities privacy bill. The Supreme Court most recently sent back a case to North Carolina that was an adverse ruling, so the court decisions are in our favor for local decision making and flexibility, so there's not any need for any legislation, and I continue with that view. Thank you all very much. And I want to make sure we get a good picture with the commissioners up here, so please join us.